So in this series, which is a spin-off, or I should say homework for class, a way of thinking better, which talks about different topics, right? Creativity, logic, science, spirituality, art, so on and so forth. And then we're going to be going into emotion. But the thing is that because we're in science and we have a lot of geniuses out there that are always trying to outsmart people and just abuse power. Some genius said, why do snakes lie on their belly and all this other stuff? Well, why do lazy people lie down, so on and so forth? Because snakes represent knowledge, right? Have you not seen the medical symbol? It's two snakes. There are some knowledgeable people in there, right? Or wisdom, or whatever the case may be. So are they lazy and just lying around doing nothing? I don't know. Ask the nurses. But for the people in science, I want to ask specific questions. So let's get into it, shall we? So in this first part of how do they know, which is going to follow all the way through to the end of science portion in class, this will be your homework portion for those of you who are starting to think critically, or for those geniuses that say read the book, except they haven't read all the books, they just stuck to one, decided, yeah, it's good enough for me, so on and so forth, and they can't put two and two together, etc. So, first question I have is, how did the authors know what God or Jesus was doing in private, right? Because they said that he would go out and pray by himself and do all these things. Well, how do they know? Were they spying on him? Were they being nosy Nancy's? Were they being curious? Were they saying stuff and just playing along because you want to pin the tail on the donkey? I have no idea, but you should ask these questions because then it will force you to think critically about the lessons that are taught in the different books, not just listening to the story. All right? I don't need to sing this to you. I just need to explain it to you in a language in which you understand. And being that English is, well, one of the dominant languages in the world, I'm sure that some of you will pick up on what I'm laying down and you could translate it later. Let's continue. How did they know who said and did what in different stories? Well, somebody had to be a journalist and, write all this down. Somebody had to document this. It's not like they had a camera, or maybe they did. I don't know, because, think about it. We just now have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and everything else, even though Nikola Tesla came out with some stuff. But, if you guys remember from the new lesson in class that will be coming out, right? The question in there, or not the question, but the statement in there talks about the Secrecy Act. So how long has this been going on? Ask those questions, grow more, right? So how did they know? How did they know what people were doing in private? And then how do they know what people did within the different stories? Is it a story? Is it fact? Is it fiction? Are you trying to tell us something metaphorically? Think about it, right? Next question. How did they know that Jesus was tested and spoken to in the desert? He was in a desert, right? So if you can't hide there, right, how did they know, right? Was there technology that gave them, a window or a door to see the situation at hand? How did they know, right? How did they know what was going on? How did they know what the tests were? How did they know what did, what did what? How did they know what was said, etc., right? How did they know? Unless they were being so curious that they had to, right? Because here's the thing. If you study history or you watch movies or read books, etc., there's a gentleman by the name of Casanova. And one of the quotes that he said in the movie, played by Heath Ledger, who played Casanova in the movie Casanova, he said, "You want to be the flame, not the moth." Now, if you think of the planets, since we're in science, right? What happens if all the planets got curious and went too close to the sun, right? They would surely burn and die, right? Hence getting too close, or get real close, right? The sun would be like, get real close, please get real close. But then you have Mercury. It's a small solid planet, so on and so forth. And, I think of it like baseball, right? Because if somebody gets too close, Mercury can at least smack or push or bump into another planet to keep it away from the sun before it burns and dies, right? As a warning. But, that's just a metaphorical example of how the planets could maintain balance in the universe, from Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Earth, and everything else getting too curious and close to the sun and throwing everything out of alignment, and then there will be nothing, right? Think about that, right? Because people will be like, oh, well, it's the gravitational pull and this, that, and the third. But do they not move in certain ways? It's not a perfect circle. It's more like an oblong type of shape, meaning it looks like an egg according to science and how it explains things. So ask yourself those questions and you'll get a lot further. Another question. How did they perform magic but did not identify it as science? Now, for some of you who are, let's say, Avengers fans, right? Thor once did something and somebody was like, oh, that's amazing, this, that, and the third. How do you guys have magic powers, etc.? And Thor said something that was very profound in the movie. He said that on your planet, it's called magic. On my planet, it's called science. See, anything that has not been distinguished or described or explained to you, right, is indistinguishable from magic when it comes to understanding science. So many people that don't ask questions will look at many things like magic, like real-time artificial intelligence put into place with deepfake videos in order to have a conversation, right? People know about deepfake videos. You put that in tandem with AI and collaborate it with other things, and you can make a bunch of crazies out there, right? Believing that they heard something. So why not have checks and balances and tell your friend, can they see the same thing on their phone if they're from a different country, etc., and what's being said to them? These are the critical questions you have to ask. This has been part 1 of How Did They Know? Your homework for science. Hope you're ready. Take care. Have a great day.